Hello, everyone. Troy Aikman spoke on the Cowboys situation leading up to the Super Bowl and why he sounds like he's optimistic about the 2022 Cowboys. And he talked about what was not the real issue with the team. And we will link that together with something that just happened today. And that was Mike McCarthy going live on Rich Eisen's show and talking directly about what it meant for him, maybe that Jerry Jones came out and said what he said about Dan Quinn, maybe eyeing the Cowboys head coaching job in the future. We'll talk about that. And as always, we will have Random Thought Tuesday here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. So make sure you get ready and you start thinking about that random thought, because that is one of my favorite moments on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime all week. So thank you guys for tuning into ADC Sports Dallas. I know that, hey, we're going to have an exciting show tonight. What is up, people over at the YouTube chat? Aikman, speaking the truth, this is burner account. And burner accounts usually a little bit more pessimistic maybe with the Cowboys. So, hey, I'm surprised by burner account also maybe being bullish with the Cowboys. We'll talk about that tonight. Hello, Lumen. Thank you for being here. What is up, Tommy? Chuck, Rico Diaz, thank you for being here. Make sure you smash that like button. Share the show. And if you're watching on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime on YouTube or Facebook, share the show. Let your friends know about the show. And hey, let's start this officially. And I just set the show about 3 times in a row. So let's start this and let's get going. Everyone, and welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodríguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, with a lot more content coming your way throughout the entire offseason. Make sure you check out adcsports.com/Dallas. By the way, we are excited because this week we welcomed into the team managing editor Evan Winter. So shout out to Evan Winter, really just helping ADC Sports, take our content to a whole other level. And I'm excited for you guys to see where all of this is headed. I'm excited about the future, guys. So let's start the show, guys. Troy Aikman had some thoughts to share. What is up? We have people watching from Florida. Bill, thank you for joining the show. And also we have Rudy, who is watching from Yucatan, Mexico. And I'm from Mexico, guys. You guys know that. Syracuse, New York, also from Kenneth Fraser. So as you can see, Cowboys Nation, as always, representing the team everywhere, just about everywhere. So thank you for tuning in. Let's talk about what Troy Aikman had to say about the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is a quote leading up to the Super Bowl, so not something that he said today, but we will kind of tie it together with something that I just saw before hopping on the show live about none other than Mike McCarthy himself addressing what Jerry Jones had to say about Dan Quinn and what he said about Jason Garrett and Sean Payton staying around because maybe they were hopeful that the head coaching job for the Dallas Cowboys was going to be open down the road. And it was kind of, it wasn't easy. I think it was an awkward conversation. I think that Mike McCarthy dropped 2 nuggets there that I wasn't expecting, and we'll get into that on tonight's show. That will be more of an improvised portion of primetime because I literally just watched this clip before I clicked go live. So hey, some insane stuff there. But Troy Aikman was asked about the Cowboys being eliminated in the wild card round, and this is what he had to say. This was actually also on the Rich Eisen show. Now that I think about the text that you are seeing on your screen is from John Machota from The Athletic. And for the podcast audience, here it goes. I will read it for you. Remember that you can also catch Primetime and Will Skywalker Steele's morning show. You can catch it on Spotify, Apple, and your favorite podcast platforms. Leave us a 5-star review if you would, please. Now, Troy Aikman said they're as talented as any team in football. Someone who gets a chance to see a lot of these teams because of the Thursday night schedule and the Sunday package, I would put their roster up against anyone's. I will read that again. I would put their roster up against anyone's. That's what Troy Aikman said about the Cowboys. They played great. They didn't play as well down the stretch, but then you go into the postseason and you just don't play your best football. But this isn't the first time that has happened. I don't blame the coaching. I don't blame the coaching. And then he added, I think that's the easy out. And I think that's what people do. Overall, I think that they are a very well-coached team. It just didn't happen for them. So I get the impression, and you guys might do that as well. I get the impression that Troy Aikman is bullish on the Cowboys. I get the impression that he's optimistic. The fact that he's saying, you know what, the talent is not an issue for the Cowboys. They have a talented roster. And the fact that he's also saying, you know what, I think that blaming the coaching is a bit of an easy way out. And yes, Stevie Mack bringing up what McCarthy had to say, and we'll get to that as well. I just saw that clip just before going live with McCarthy going on Rich's show today. Interesting stuff that he had to say. The question for you guys in the chat is, do you agree or disagree with Aikman's take on the Cowboys' talent? Because he said, I would put their roster up against anyone. And I think that this is Troy Aikman being optimistic about the Cowboys, which is something that I was actually kind of impressed by. Jimmy Johnson earlier on Super Bowl week, he also was talking about maybe Jerry Jones and the fact that he didn't like to admit that he was wrong. And he referenced the coaches, so it felt like maybe Jimmy Johnson didn't agree with what Troy Aikman had to say. I will agree with Troy Aikman. I think that the Cowboys have talent. Lumen says, agree. Agrees is Tommy915. Coaching. Dana says, I agree with them. Samuel Rose says, oh, wait, I agree. Cal says, coaching is no time management skills. Jessica also agrees. Kenneth says, I most definitely agree 100%. And look, here's the thing. I agree with the fact that the Cowboys have a talented team. I think that they're talented enough to win ball games and to win in the NFL. However, I wouldn't say that I agree 100%, even though I mostly do. I think that maybe we have fallen into a trap of maybe overrating the Cowboys a little bit. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I will lay out an example for you. Coming into the season, I thought that the Cowboys were going to be more than fine across their offensive line, and I'm not sure that was the case. I think that at plenty of points throughout the season, we were concerned about the center position. We were concerned about the left guard spot. We didn't really feel great about whatever was going on at right tackle. And you guys, if you have been watching Primetime for a minute, you guys know that I like Lyle Collins. I think that he's a good player, and I think that he can be a good right tackle for the team. But then you had the Terrence Steele thing going on, and it was just weird stuff across the 53-man roster. And you looked at wide receiver as well. CeeDee Lamb, great future. I think that he's going to be a very good wide receiver in his career. But also he had a lot of moments throughout the year in which sometimes it didn't feel like he had shown up, or he had the drops thing going on. And then you had similar moments across the defense. Anthony Brown being burned some weeks. Mostly he, played better than we expected him to. So overall, I do think the Cowboys are talented. I'm just not quite sure that that we're not overrating them when it comes to talent sometimes. So even though I agree, I'm going to say that maybe we are overrating them a little bit when we say that they are one of the best rosters in the league. Morales Jim asking, who is this guy? Mauricio Rodríguez. Nice to meet you, Morales Jim. Thank you for being here. And hey, smash that like button if you are liking what you think. Dallas Young says that he disagrees with what Troy Aikman had to say. Now, Tommy says they're champions on paper before every season. I'm sick of it already. Get it together, Cowboys. And I think that Dak Prescott said in the NFL Honors that, hey, you know what? I'm not over the San Francisco 49ers loss. And I don't think anyone is. And I think that the frustration is still riding high among Cowboys Nation, which is fully understandable. Roy Fletcher disagrees, and he actually brought up the offensive line as well. Roy is saying the Cowboys need O-line help, and they really do. Now, we'll get back to the talent portion of things in a moment. That was the original plan. But as Stevie Mack said earlier in the YouTube chat section, Stevie Mack said, McCarthy was on Rich Eisen's show today, and Rich flat out asked him about Jerry's earlier coaching comments and put him right on the spot. He really did. And I think that there are a few sports talk show hosts that can do that. I think that very few guys have earned the benefit of straight up asking that, because Rich Eisen did. Rich brought up the comments from Jerry Jones about Dan Quinn staying with the Cowboys, and he straight up asked Mike McCarthy, how does that sit with you? How does Mike McCarthy... Stevie Mack, thank you, man. Stevie Mack is awesome. He's a legend. And now, back to what I was saying. When Jerry Jones said that Dan Quinn had maybe stayed because of the possibility of taking over the Cowboys head coaching role, McCarthy, he was put in an awkward spot. He wasn't ready for the question, for sure. And it did sound like McCarthy was not happy about it. And he said, you know what? I don't pay attention to that conversation because I'm just focused on winning. That was his overall message. But McCarthy did share that Dan Quinn actually reached out to him. And when he was interviewing for head coaching jobs, it sounded like, Mike McCarthy said that Dan Quinn reached out to McCarthy and that he actually asked him that if he wanted him to leave, because he said, I'm not comfortable with this narrative. If you don't want me here or anything, let me know and let's see what we can do. And McCarthy replied that if that had happened earlier in his career, that maybe he would have said, you know what, get out of here to Dan Quinn, but that he was fine with it and that he invited Dan Quinn to stay and that he wanted him to stay because that's what's best for the Cowboys, having Dan Quinn on the coaching staff. So we're talking about the issues on the Dallas Cowboys. And if your head coach is answering these questions, like, that's because the front office asked for this. The fact that Jerry Jones came out and said that in the first place, what is really frustrating about it is that it's just not necessary. Jerry Jones could have said 1,000 other things other than Dan Quinn might have stayed because maybe he wants the Cowboys head coaching job. How easy was it to stay away from that kind of comment? That's what is frustrating. And now you have McCarthy on a national famous NFL show being asked about Rich Eisen, how does that sit with him? And he even said, because he went on to add, McCarthy said, I cannot remember the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, would I wish that I didn't have to answer these kind of questions? Sure, I wish. But hey, he was answering it. And it's a frustrating moment maybe for the Cowboys. And Bruce Got the Use says, this is all Jerry's fault for dangling McCarthy over Wolves. It is unnecessary. Your head coach should be out there answering football related questions like he did earlier on that segment of the show, in which he was answering just what had happened on that final QB draw play call, which is more or less what you would expect. But Rich Eisen turned it up, and he asked about that those Jerry comments. Totally unnecessary. That shouldn't have been brought up by Jerry Jones ever. He can think it. He's allowed to think it, because you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe Sean Payton and maybe Dan Quinn said, you know what? I don't know how safe McCarthy is around here. I might get a head coaching job with the Cowboys. Maybe that lives in Jerry Jones' head, whether it's right or not. And maybe he's right. But why does he have to come out and say that to the press? I thought that we were not going to talk about it anymore because it happened a couple of weeks ago. But now that McCarthy had to address it, get ready for a week of that conversation, because I think we will see that in a lot of places. And McCarthy himself said it. I wish I wouldn't have to answer to these kind of questions. But he did say that his relationship with Dan Quinn is great. His relationship with Jerry Jones is also great. And he kind of accepted what Tom Downey burner account is saying over here. Jerry wants to be a star. So he kind of accepted that, you know what, this is a part of being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And by the way, missed a super chat from burner account. Thank you for your comment and your donation. And burner account says, an organization's ability to learn and translate that learning into action rapidly is the ultimate competitive advantage. Dallas lacks this, and it shows, says burner account. And hey, what better example would you want from what burner account is trying to say here? I agree with it. And what better example do we want from it than the two teams that just played in the Super Bowl? One was the LA Rams, who said, you know what? Sean McVay said, I run outside zone. That's my thing in 2018. But now he shifted towards that. He got a better quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And from one moment to another, the Rams are not running a wide zone offense. They really are not. They were running more of a spread attack and a more intricate passing game. And then on the other side, even in a shorter term example, you had a Cincinnati Bengals team that was running the ball and running the ball and running the ball throughout the first half of the season. And then they realized, you know what, we have a better chance at winning these games if we just hand the football to none other than Joe Burrow. Surprise, surprise, even with a poor offensive line. So, hey, those are just two quick examples that come to mind. But the examples that I said are more coaching related. And we wish that the Cowboys maybe applied sort of that philosophy, but in the front office side of things. Restructure lots of the veterans on these teams, as Dallas Young, get as much cap space as possible, and sign them players to get you over the hump. Kick the can all the way down the road, says Dallas Young. Maybe a possibility. I don't feel like that is going to happen, though. I don't think that the Cowboys will change the way that they do things in free agency in 2022. Anything can happen, but we have seen zero evidence of it happening soon. All right. True, but I'm just saying they should have dominated that game, says Kenneth Fraser. Maybe talking about the 49ers game. Maybe I missed something in the chat. What is up, El Pipiri Pal? Thank you for tuning into the show. Now, moving on from that rant about the Cowboys front office and the Cowboys current situation, going back to what Troy Aikman said, he did say that, you know what, the Cowboys are as talented as any other team in football. And that got me thinking, what position would you change? Like, if you could only fully upgrade, like really get a very good player that you know for sure that he's going to work out. If you could fully upgrade only one specific position, which would it be? That is a random question, maybe, and we have not got into the random thoughts portion of the show yet. But if you could fully upgrade one position, which one would it be? Now, if you think about it, this is a different question than what is the top need for the Cowboys. That is a different question because this is maybe you have a good player at one position, but if you could fully upgrade it, the Cowboys would be in a much better spot, right? And burner account goes with ownership because that is always what burner account will want to upgrade, and I agree with that. But more in a football sense of things, what one position which would you like to upgrade? Offensive line, says Tommy 915. I like it. I think that is one position. But even if you go even more specific, and Roy Fletcher is saying guard, and he's even saying his possibility, and he's saying the Texas A&M guard, Kenyon Green, specifically left guard, says Tommy 915. My answer is similar, but I would say center. I think that the Cowboys' top need is left guard, but if you told me you can get a top player at center or at left guard, I would take a center. That's what I would take. And hey, we talked about Tyler Linderbaum just yesterday. So that's a possibility. I think that Tyler Viadish really puts the Cowboys in a better position in this position group. However, if you could get a top tier center and just go back to the days when the Cowboys had Travis Frederick, for example, I think that would solve a lot of issues for the Cowboys. And maybe if you even put a lot on his plate, because some schemes will have the quarterback deal with a lot of things at the line instead of the center. Some teams will split those responsibilities. And I think that if you can put a lot on the plate for the center, maybe you could ease the burden of a quarterback. Of course, that is a minor thing, maybe, but that is something that I would also think about. Now, Stevie Mack says kicker. I feel that they should upgrade kicker, says Kenneth Fraser as well. Quarterback, says burner account, love Dak, but he's no Brady or Rodgers. I think that could be valid if you're taking an elite quarterback, but I am very happy with Dak, though. I think that he's a quarterback that the Cowboys can definitely win with, and I'm excited about Prescott's future still. Lumen is asking, why did he get blocked? I don't think that you did. I don't see why you would have, Lumen. And since I'm reading your comment, I don't think that you're blocked. Hopefully, I don't know. You'll hear the rumors of Derek Carr getting $40 million a year, says Dallas Young. I had not heard that actually. That would be kind of crazy. I almost said center, says Kenneth, but retracted it because I think we need a better kicker as well. I like Linderbaum, says Tommy. We need to run a carving knife through this roster and cut out all the costly fat, says Ryan Doyle. Yeah, I agree with Stevie Mack, though. No one got blocked. That was weird. That I don't know if Lumen got a weird notification there. Burner account changing his answer. He says, never mind, I want a random 3 or 1 tech. So yeah, I will go with offensive center. I think that we got some pretty good answers here in the chat. It's always nice. My pass rush comment got blocked, says Lumen. That's weird. I don't know why that happened. Maybe that was an automatic thing from YouTube. I don't know. But hey, Lumen's answer is a pass rush, and you can never have a good enough pass rush. So I don't hate that at all. I think that's a good answer as well. And that moves us on to the final topic of the show. And this is Random Thought Tuesday. As always, whatever random thought is on your mind regarding the Dallas Cowboys, we do this every Tuesday here on ADC Sports Dallas. Whatever is on your mind, something that you thought about during the week related to the Cowboys, what is your random thought of the week? Let me know in the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat. I got mine. I definitely got mine. Random Thought Tuesday. And mine is centered around none other than Randy Gregory. We have talked a lot about, and I'm looking forward to reading yours, by the way. But hey, I was thinking about Randy Gregory and his contract, and I came across this quote from Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones said, and this is back at the beginning of February. I think this happened at the Senior Bowl, actually. And Jerry Jones said, knowing our time together, talking about Randy Gregory here, and some of the pluses and some of the pluses and some of the times that we've had to work through some of the not so fun things, that will serve us well. That is what Jerry Jones said about Randy Gregory's contract negotiations. And I thought that was interesting because I've had not the theory, maybe, but just the question of, are the Cowboys hoping for a hometown discount from Randy Gregory just because of the support that they've given Randy G? Now, I'm not saying that Randy Gregory should give them said hometown discount, but this is not the first time that I think about it because it kind of makes sense. We can hate on the Jerry Jones front office all that we want, but if you asked me one thing that they had done the right way over the last few years, I would say I would put Randy Gregory's case up there because I think that what they did with Gregory has been truly great. I think that the way that they have stuck with him and the way that they have helped him and supported him, even when a lot of people just wanted to get rid of Randy G, and the Cowboys were like, you know what, we're going to help him because at the end of the day, addiction to anything is a sickness and you need to address it as such. It is a disease. I've always liked the support that the Cowboys have given Randy Gregory. And I wonder if somehow, some way, the Cowboys are hoping for a hometown discount, even if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I look forward to seeing how that plays out and if that helps the Cowboys stick with Randy Gregory. Because I'm not going to say, and I will never do so, I will never sit here and say, you know what, any given player needs to give this team a hometown discount. Because if you can get that money in the market, go get that money for sure. Hey, you're the most important thing, and hey, you need to take care of yourself. So I wouldn't say that Randy Gregory needs to give the Cowboys a hometown discount, but I do think that you need to take a look at that possibility. So that's my random thought of the week. I've seen some of yours here in the chat. Let's get to them. Jerry says, discipline, 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 and no more penalties. Roy Fletcher says, can we afford Gregory? And we will address that question maybe tomorrow night or Thursday night. Not sure yet. But we will get into what a Randy Gregory contract could look like for the Cowboys. Burner account. Yeah, burner account had a too morbid comment over there. Bruce Gadiu says Cowboys shouldn't release hype videos until they actually make meaningful moves. I love hype videos. Like, I am a sucker for hype videos. But I agree with Bruce. Like, they got one out recently. Sort of like starting off the offseason officially with a hype video. And I didn't like it. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm not really going to watch this one because right now I'm not in the mood for hype videos from the Cowboys. So I see where Bruce is coming from. Kenneth says, I think Jerry Jones shouldn't have so much say about the team players. And at the end of the day, he always will have that final say. So I agree with Kenneth there. Prescott says Kyle needs to restructure his contract to keep the good players around him. And I think that he will. I think that restructure is coming very soon. Burner account says, oh yeah, the hype video was such BS. Not going to lie, I'm a sucker for them, but I didn't watch the latest one. Maybe I will get around to watching it someday, but I will not watch it. Not yet. Cedric says, franchise Gregory if they cannot sign him. And the bad thing about that is that pass rushers are always expensive. But hey, Cedric is on something here that might end up happening maybe. But the Cowboys are in a tough position to make that happen. I don't know how that looks like for the Cowboys salary cap. Miller says, when are we going to win a Super Bowl? Stephen says, Stevie Mac, says, we'll still be here, so nothing will change unless Charlotte Jones gets ownership and kicks him out. Can you imagine that happening? I am here for it. I'm definitely here for it. Random Thought says, Dallas Junk, are we confident in the tight end position if Jarwin starts next season? And that is worth like an entire show in itself, right? Not sure that we are. Not sure that we are, because not sure that we know who Blake Jarwin is. Think about it. Do we know who Blake Jarwin is? I don't think that we do, guys. Like, we have seen him do some stuff, of course, the 3-touchdown game versus the Giants and all of that. But when the Cowboys signed Jarwin to a contract extension, it was kind of a risky maneuver because we knew maybe who he could be, but we had never seen a full season from him as a full-time starter because of Jason Witten, because of this, because of that. And then the injury happened in 2020, and then Schultz took over. And even when he was healthy, Jarwin was not the starter for the Cowboys this season that just ended. So I agree with that concern. I don't know that we know who Blake Jarwin is. Tommy says, random thought, I wonder if Dak watched and learned from Stafford this past Sunday. Let's see. Aaron Meyer says, as long as Kellen is offensive coordinator, I'm not watching. My boycott won't hurt the NFL, but at least I'll have more free time on Sundays in the fall and have the winner, says Sean. I don't know if Sean is going to live up to that promise, though, because Sean, you know that it's an addiction. We cannot get enough football in our lives. Like, I'm already sad that we don't have more NFL to watch. But I see where he's coming from. I am a little bit more optimistic about Kellen Moore's future, though, than the consensus maybe, even though I have my doubts. Clay Cobb says, Jarwin is injury prone. Yes, we know that. That is true. That is something that we do know. Let's see. The Real Darrell says the team and coaches needed to see the Super Bowl to see what it takes to win in the playoffs. Let's see if they learned something. All right. Anyways, guys, that will be it for me tonight here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I appreciate you tuning into the show. It was an interesting one, and maybe tomorrow night, when we have more time to think about it, we will have some additional thoughts on what Mike McCarthy had to say today on Rich Eisen's show, because those were some interesting quotes. Those definitely are. So, hey, we'll get to that. Louis, thank you for tuning into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Sean is saying that he won't watch and that he will find out whatever happened when I listen to you and Skywalker the next day. All right, hey, I'm here for it. Well, at least if you're not going to support the Cowboys, but you're going to support ADC Sports, no complaints here. No complaints here on here, my man. Anyways, thank you. Nice flannel, man. Thank you. Thank you, rocking it, burner account. Anyways, thank you, Roy, Dallas, John, Kenneth, Fraser, all of you. Hey, I moved my camera here real quick. Let me get it back where it should be. Check out the podcast platforms. We are on ADC Sports Dallas, on Spotify, on iTunes, and whatever your favorite podcast platforms are. You can always catch the replay there, the audio version of it. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I would fully understand if some of you guys prefer the audio version of things. So shout out to those who are listening over there. I appreciate you as well. Check out adcsports.com/Dallas for more Cowboys content and more Mavericks content. And also, once again, shout out to Evan Winter, new managing editor for adcsports.com. We are growing and I'm excited about it. So stay tuned for more content. Thank you, guys. I will see you tomorrow night. I'm your host, Mauricio Rodríguez. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. Thank you.